All right, welcome back. Last section, or last video for this section 1.1. I'm going to push out this page to you in OneNote. It's going to look like this. It also down below has an activity that I'm going to want you to do on your own. We're just going to go over this part. I probably will end up pushing out the key to you too, just for those of you who don't have a stylus yet to write in this. But all right, we're going to talk about just intersections of lines and planes. So I want you to think about, if I've got these two straight lines, they always intersect at a point, right? It's just this one place that they intersect at. And if they intersected at two places, then one of them would have to be curved, right? And so that wouldn't meet our definition of a line anymore, right? Like right now, our definition of a line is that it's got to be a straight line. So if I've got an example like this picture, they want us to name the intersection of LM and PM. Well, remember, this is how we label a line, LM, and I want you to literally take your cursor or take your pen and look at L, drag it over to M, and say, okay, and it's going on, it's got arrows on the end, so I know it's going on forever and ever. It's talking about the line. So it's this line that goes through those points. PM, we've got P and M here. It's going here, so it intersects at point M. And I could have just used the letter M as well. All right, planes. Planes intersect, so I want you to think of two papers or like a book, like a spine of a book or something. If you see this dotted line here, then it's in the picture, something that you just can't see, but it's like this back paper, or this back part of this plane here. And so if you've got two planes, two flat surfaces, I want you to think of you could also think of walls in your room, or like the ceiling in a wall, or the floor in a wall. Those two things intersecting always create a line, right? So they create that whole crease there of wherever they meet. So if I've got this is kind of an intricate picture, and so this is kind of hard for people to wrap their head around, but I've got two planes drawn in here, and I've got the intersection of plane D. Well, D is that I can use that uppercase letter here because it's like that cursive script letter in the corner. It doesn't have a dot next to it, which means it's not a point. And so I've got plane D and plane A, and again, A is in the corner. If I was using points, if I was using any of these points on here, I would have had to use 3 points to name that plane. And so they intersect where? Well, they intersect actually at this line right here, right? Both plane A and plane D have that line. So the way that I could label that line, I got a ton of different ways here, right? Any of these would have been okay. So XR, RX, RZ, ZR, XZ, or ZX. And all of these would have been acceptable so long as I put both just 2 points, not 3, not 4, just 2, and then the segment bar with the arrows on the ends. Okay, so any one of those would have counted. Our last definition that we're going to go over, or our last concept that we're going to go over really, is how a point or a plane and a line intersect. So imagine I take a ruler and I lay it on a desk. Okay? Or you take a piece of string and you lay it on the floor. So that piece of string, well, I want you to think about it laying. I want you to think of what if you stood up a ruler on top of through a desk, or you get a pole going through the ground. Okay, so imagine this pole. This is the part that you see. This is the underground part, and really it should be all dotted if you're thinking of it that way. But those intersect right at that point in the ground where the pole would go in, right? So anytime you've got a plane and a line, unless the line is lying on the plane, and if that's the case, then we're talking about something else here. But if you've got a plane and a line intersecting, then they intersect at a point. So if I've got this example, name the intersection of plane HEF, well, that's the top of this box, and line GC, which is over here. Okay, so those intersect at point G, just this corner tip here. Okay, so this is our pole, think of it that way, and this is our ground that it's intersecting. Okay, I'm going to give you some time now, and you are going to go and drag and drop these pieces into this handout so that you can have that for your notes, and then you're going to come check it with me. See you in a bit.